Hi, welcome back to Comic Book Gallery. I'm your host, Joaquin. How we doing, people? So today's video, just to say I'm still here, and I'm located in Linwood, Washington at Round the Table. So for your board games, Magic the Gathering, card games, this is the place to be. I know it's a comic book channel, but this is where I'm recording right now, so I want to give a shout out. Also, I started another channel called West Coast Geeks, where the majority of like board games, Magic the Gathering, everything that's not comic book related will be listed there. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description. So on with the show. So the first day of us being hunkered down, this is where I'm choosing to be. So I want you to know that when I do, an unboxing, when I get it, I always check first. So if you didn't check out my last video, you should go check out my last video. It's an update about what's been going on with the channel. And I give a nice little breakdown of Avengers versus Avengers Annual number 15, where the team has a baseball game. That's the premise where they started off. So it's actually a really good read. So I was talking with an individual or a kid, getting old, and he was asking about good stories, and it made me think about, it's just easy to just rattle off all the major stories, and if it's like Daredevil or Avengers or X-Men, but it's finding these little ones where you're able to recommend. And so I bought this lot, but I paid about $2 plus shipping for the whole thing. I mean, $2 a piece, that's what it came out to. So, Avengers 70, or Avengers 270, 271, and 272, $274, and 273, which I actually had them out of order. So in this video, because I don't have the complete story of the Masters of Evil yet, I'm not going to be talking about them until I get it. But in this video, we're going to concentrate on the lead up to the Masters of Evil. And I thought they did a good job. As you can see, these are basically just reader copies. That's why I got it for so low. But when I was thinking of a story, this would be a great story to recommend. I would actually start with 270 leading up to its conclusion, plus the aftermath on this story. So in 270, the Submariner, and it's part of the Avengers, and he's being protested. Also, I'm just going to give like a brief summary of it because I really want you to read these and enjoy. And I think right now in modern comic book collecting, that's really being overlooked. So many videos are just talking about, you got to buy this book, my top 10 list, you got to invest. But man, we need some more people just hyping up stories, people. I mean, isn't that what the reason why we started reading comic books in the first place? I mean, we didn't think of them as investment, at least not so much in my days, or would even dream that they would be making the kind of money you can make them off now. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because there's not. All I'm saying is like, as us creators, take a time out and just explain a story. I mean, most channels that I watch do every now and then, but it seems like it's far in between. So, 270, they're protesting the Submariner. Submariner and Hercules during this run have kind of like a... they're always bickering type of a thing, but when it comes to having each other's back in the team, they have each other's back. And you'll learn a little bit about the nature of their dynamic, of their somewhat friendship in this book. So, and also they're also setting up a few villains who will later on join the Masters of Evil. Now here you have Black Knight, Wasp, and Paladin. Now, the Paladin's a really interesting character. He's kind of like a gadget spy type James Bond, but dressed in purple. And you don't really see that much of him. And if you read about him, you'll know why. And part of it is just the writing. You know, they really didn't spend that much time developing him. But every now and then he'll pop up. So you have Grey Gargoyle, Yellow Jacket, and Screaming Mimi. Again, 3 villains that you rarely see pop up, even now. I mean, with Grey Gargoyle, I mean, I'll probably do some videos on these 3 characters just because they're just people you don't hear about that often. So, once again, it's leading up to the Masters of Evil, but at this point, you're starting to see Hercules questioning Wasp leadership more and more leading up to the Masters of Evil, because when the Masters of Evil go and assault Avengers Mansion, they're showing you how you would do it, because if you had a full team, right? So you have Submariner and Hercules alone could take on most of those villains, just those 2 by themselves. Now there's a couple other super villains that they have there that will give them a run for their money. And if it was only these 2 against the entire Masters of Evil, they would most likely lose. But then you throw in, you know, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Black Knight. Yeah, all of them all together, there's no way. I don't want to say there's no way, but, you know, the Masters of Evil is not going to have an easy cakewalk of just kicking the Avengers' butt. So a little foreshadowing there. So now you have 272, where it explains why Namor has left the group, because Marina has been captured by Attuma, and that's what this whole issue is about. So at the end, Namor leaves the group. So the Avengers are weakened by the time that you get to the beginning of the Masters of Evil story. So I really wanted to focus more on these 3 books leading up to it. First, I really like this old school art, because this is before digital art, right? So, you know, I'm looking at some of the new art nowadays, and I'm just not impressed. You know, a lot of artists, they don't seem to care about anatomy or even perspective. A lot of new stories, while they'll have some really good stories, the artwork is not as good, or the artwork can be okay and almost good, and the story's not that well. And I'm not saying that this era didn't have that too, because they did, but when I was more willing to take a chance on a 75-cent to $1 book back then than I am for $4 to $5. So I'm really picky about the new books I get. If I get a new book once or twice a week, that's pretty rare now. I mean, I'd rather go back and buy these type of short stories that I remember enjoying reading, or buying a key, than any of the new stuff that's out. You know, everybody's always doing comic book breakdown videos. So I just keep up with what's going on by watching all the videos. So thank you, YouTube creators, fellow comic book creators. So these 3 stories are just, I like the way that they lined them up, and especially with Hercules and Submariner. And it almost makes me want to, I have some other things I'm trying to concentrate on, like finishing up the Master of Evil run, but going back maybe another 10 more issues to see the relationship between Submariners and Hercules, you know? Because it seemed like it was pretty funny as I was reading it. In this story here, like I said, this really intrigued me about these 3 characters, where it makes me want to read and learn more about them. And with the Submariner, it's going to be hitting the big screen pretty soon. So I'm also going to be looking into some of the Namor stories, but only when he's with the Avengers. All right, sorry about that, people. So I had to slice this together because my camera turned off at the last second, because I forgot to charge it. That's what happens, people. A one-man show here. So I just wanted to conclude that I will be making more videos about those topics that I previously had discussed. And I just wish you all, be safe, and hopefully we can get through this. And this is a good time to be reading comic books. Just take care, people. If you like what you see, hit the like and subscribe button to all my new subscribers. Hey, and leave a comment below how this is affecting you. You can start going back and reading through old runs, that you appreciate, and leave a comment below about what runs or stories that most people don't even talk about. That way, when somebody watches this video for the first time, they're just not hearing The Killing Joke or Infinity Gauntlet or Secret Wars. These other little small stories is what makes comic book collecting great. Take care, people. I need a theme song. Hey, later, people.